Well, the crowd being treated to the national anthem here at Pro Player Stadium, and we are closing in on first pitch time for opening day 98, the Cubs and the Marlins here on WGN. Starting pitcher for the Cubs today, right-hander Kevin Tapani, who last year was on the shelf with a sore hand. He was trying to figure out what was wrong with it. When he did come back, he posted a very strong record of 9-3, and he's looking forward to today and telling me he is only a part of what's a very solid, if unspectacular, pitching staff.
Yeah, well, we don't have the guy that's, one guy that's going to go out there and strike out 200 people or, throw 10 shutouts a year or anything like that. But we don't have anyone in the lineup in our pitching staff that you say, well, hope we can get through here or hope someone can step up. Everybody's got an expectation on them, and I think that's pretty good.
So these are the starting pitchers for today, Kevin Tapani and Livan Hernandez, the World Series hero for the Marlins, each player with an identical record of 9-3 last year, and looking forward to getting this one started as we are this afternoon here on WGN. This would have been Harry Carey's 54th season of broadcasting Major League Baseball. We're going to miss him tremendously in 1998. If he were here, he would tell us that we're wasting time talking about him, that we could devote to the baseball game, but I'll tell you what, we're going to waste it anyway. We're going to say goodbye for the moment from Pro Player Stadium. Baseball comes your way next. Thanks for watching the pregame, and enjoy this tribute to our departed friend, Harry Carey. We'll see you later.
Schedule on a gorgeous afternoon against the defending world champion Florida Marlins. Hi again, everybody. I'm Chip Carey along with Steve Stone. Glad you're with us for Cubs baseball today from Miami. And Stoney, it's great to be with you this season. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I know you and Cubs fans everywhere are much more optimistic about this season's start as opposed to 1997.
Well, I'm going to go out on the line and say that they're not going to go 0-14, and one of the reasons, the Florida Marlins, a completely different team. You've got Kotsay, you've got Jackson, but gone, as you can see there, a big part of this ball club. However, they have Gary Sheffield, and the Cubs today have Mark Grace, and that's somewhat of a surprise.
Yeah, Mark Grace broke his toe in his last spring training at bat. He's playing through the pain, the foot and toe very, very sore, but Grace is in the starting lineup for today's Cubs-Marlins matchup. Intriguing pitching matchup as well for the Cubs. Kevin Tapani takes the hill against World Series MVP Livan Hernandez. It should be a great pitching matchup.
Well, Hernandez had a terrible spring. That doesn't count. The bell rings now, and we're ready to go.
I'm ready. I hope you're ready. Hope you're ready to have some fun as well. It's the Cubbies and the Marlins. First pitch comes your way right after this timeout.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste. The new Dodge. From cars to minivans to trucks, it's about change. The new Dodge. Ameritech.
Gary Sheffield leads the Marlins to the field here at the Fish Tank. Kevin Tapani, Scott Service, and the Cubs set to open up the 1998 schedule once again down here in South Florida. But Steve Stone, much different circumstances this year as opposed to last when the Marlins went from the wild card to the World Series championship.
16 new faces here, but more important than 16 new faces, because the Cubs have 14 new faces this opening day. The Marlins have 14 rookies, so it's going to be a tough year for them.
Which is 7 more than the expansion Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Let's take a look at the Cubs batting order, brought to you today by Pepsi. Lance Johnson leads it off in center. Batting and playing second, Mickey Morandini. Sammy Sosa in right. Mark Grace playing with a broken toe is at first base. Henry Rodriguez, 26 home runs last season. A lot of protection in Jim Riggleman's lineup. Jeff Blauser, his first year with the Cubs, is the shortstop. Kevin Ory, coming off a great rookie season last year. Scott Service hits 8th behind the plate. Kevin Tapani, the pitcher, bats 9th.
And the defense for Jim Leland's Marlins. A different look. Floyd Kotze and Sheffield left to right. In the infield, Josh Booty at third, Renteria, Counsell, and Ryan Jackson in the infield. A battery of Johnson and Hernandez. And there you look at Livan Hernandez, 9-3 last year. Bear in mind, his team averaged just under 7 runs a game for him last year. This is not a team that can produce that kind of offense, so he's going to have to be a little bit tougher, and he was blasted this spring. 0-4, ERA of 6.17, gave up 4 home runs in 26 innings. And Chip, he got the ball up all spring. If he gets it up today, the Cubs are going to batter him because they've got 4 left-handed hitters out of the first 5.
And this guy is now the ace of Jim Leland's staff. He was the World Series MVP last year when they had Fernandez and Brown and Leiter. He was just another guy. And the first pitch of the year is a quick strike.
Fernandez best pitch is his fastball. He does have a pretty good curve and a changeup he's been working on, but he is a fastball pitcher.
Lance Johnson on an 80-degree afternoon pops it up. Who wants it? Renteria at short, Booty at third. It'll be Renteria, and Lance Johnson pops out to open the game.
Last year, the Cubs went 0-5 here at Pro Player Stadium. They're working on a 6-game losing streak, and so they want to turn it around, get off to a good start, and certainly take advantage of a team that was completely overhauled for strictly financial considerations.
Let's not talk about losing streaks after last year as Mickey Morandini takes a breaking ball for a strike. That was not much fun, was it?
No, at 0-14 and finally broken up in a doubleheader at Shea Stadium, you'd have to say that it was not the way you wanted to start.
Mickey Morandini takes high and away in the count, a ball and a strike. He had a fine spring for the Cubs. And he slaps a shot into shallow center. Mark Kotze broke back, breaks in. Renteria can't make it. Morandini's aboard with a 1-out single.
Well, that's going to be a problem. Kotze is a good but not great center fielder. And we'll watch it again. He gets kind of a late start on this one. Renteria giving it the good effort, but he comes up short. And so a good way to start the season for Mickey Morandini. And Kotze is not your prototypical center fielder because most guys out there are speed burners. Kotze doesn't fall into that category.
Last year, maybe Devon White makes that play for the Marlins.
He had a long run from Phoenix this year, though.
That's right. Well, here's Sammy Sosa. You don't think he's happy to see a new season for the Cubs? He has a vicious rip, and he fouled it back 0-1.
You've got Ryan Jackson at first base. Now, he's a converted outfielder. That's how he made the ball club, but he's playing first base today. And so it should be adventuresome down there. The young man hit the ball very well this spring. And they've got Derek Lee and Ryan Jackson platooning at first base. It's Jackson today.
Morandini, who can run, stands at first with 1 man out. Sammy last year, 36 homers, 119 runs batted in for the Cubs. But again, as we said in our open, didn't have a whole lot of protection in front of or behind him. And that pitch from Hernandez is high. That's what you like to see. The 2 boppers were bopping.
That's what the Cubs expect. A little protection for Sammy, some left-handed power out of Henry Rodriguez, and 16 home runs between them this spring.
He went around, or maybe caught the corner. Sosa didn't think so.
It's a good hard breaking ball, and this one catches the outside corner, a generous outside corner, reminiscent of the Eric Gregg outside corner when Hernandez racked up 15 strikeouts against the Braves.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Morandini a big lead at first. And he draws the throw and is back standing up.
Well, I would think that Hernandez would try to do the same thing here. Johnson is an excellent catcher. He single-handedly can take away your running game. You would think that Hernandez would go back with that hard breaking ball away, and if Sammy is going to shorten his stroke, he can get a base hit to right or right center field.
Breaking ball swung on, takes a shot at right, driven towards Sheffield. On the run, he makes the play. Morandini hustling back, just got in time.
Good effort by Gary Sheffield, and he's got a powerful throwing arm, and Sammy did what he had to do. He went to right field with that breaking ball. Sheffield doesn't really have to dive here. He does, and makes a good solid throw and just misses Morandini at first.
So the Cubs stay out of the double play, and Mark Grace stands in. His toe is broken. It's very sore, but he's going at it opening day.
He's wearing a protective guard over that foot, and the only time he'll have problems is on a low-in breaking ball. You have a tendency to get over the top, and that's a ball that you can foul straight down and hit that foot again. He can ill afford that.
The 1-0 right through there. Count evens a ball and a strike.
And there's that guard on the right foot, the broken toe.
Fastball missed away. 2 balls and a strike.
Cliff Floyd might have his problems in left field. He is a first baseman by trade, so they've got a few guys playing out of position.
Morandini goes. Pitch high. Johnson's throw is into center field off the glove of Counsell. Morandini on his way to third.
Well, that's an error on Johnson, a stolen base. And that will be a very quick error for Charles Johnson, who's not known as a man who commits many. And this one flies into center field. He'd have had him dead to rights. And that ends a long streak of errorless games for Johnson, I do believe.
He only had 10 in his career and has won today. He's won 3 straight Gold Gloves for the Marlins. So runner at third now, 2 outs and a 3-1 count to Grace, with Henry Rodriguez waiting. And he draws the walk. First walk from Hernandez, and now you have to like the lefty-righty combination here for the Cubs. That guy can flat out catch. No errors in 973 chances, and he gets one opening day.
On his first chance. It's going to be a different year for Dave Dombrowski and these Florida Marlins, and I think it starts right there.
Well, let's see if Henry can come through with a big 2-out hit here in the top of the first. And a big cut, fouled it back straight away, 0-1.
I would be surprised if Henry got many more good hittable fastballs. You would think that Livan Hernandez would try to off-speed him. If he gets a fastball middle in, Henry can give it a ride, and the ball was flying uncharacteristically to right center field in pregame practice.
Hot and muggy day, 80 degrees here in Miami. The pitch, breaking ball, swung on, hammered deep toward right. That ball is way out of here. Oh, you gotta love that start. Henry Rodriguez, Cubs 3, Marlins yet to bat. It is a new year.
Well, that's the reason they got Henry Rodriguez. We talked about the ball flying to right and right center. That's exactly what happened. The dugout very happy. The Cubs break out on top, and they break out on top in a big way. Rodriguez gets a hanging breaking ball. And this one out over the plate, and Henry gets every bit of it. And just like that, it's 3-zip.
And it jumped right past the gap in the picnic area in right center. And Henry Rodriguez, welcome to Chi-Town, baby. Jeff Blauser takes a strike to even the count at 1-1. Cubs 3 in the top of the first, and it comes with 2 outs. We're going to have some fun this year. We keep it this pace. Blauser swings and misses.
Well, not a bad way to break into your brand new club. Couldn't have done it much better. 3 runs batted in on a towering home run. Jim Leyland hasn't seen the last of this. Not this year.
Fastball high and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Blauser had a career year last year. 17 homers, 70 batted in, was healthy for the first time in 3. And he's punched out on a nasty breaking ball to retire the side. 3 runs, 2 hits. Oh, Henry Rodriguez, his first homer as a Cub, gives the Cubs a 3-0 lead after a half in Miami. Top of the first. Oh, Henry Rodriguez, a clutch 2-out, 3-run homer after the Charles Johnson mistake in the top of the first, and the Cubs take advantage and lead it 3-0. Here's a look at your Florida Marlins starting lineup. Cliff Floyd leads it off in left. Edgar Renteria, the slick fielding shortstop, hits second. Jackson's at first. He was a AAA player last year. Then, of course, their superstar Gary Sheffield, Mark Kotze in center, Charles Johnson, boy, what a World Series he had. Craig Counsell at second base, Josh Booty at third. Livan Hernandez, the pitcher, bats ninth for the defending world champion Marlins. They got players all over the place out of position. This guy, Cliff Floyd, one of them, leading off and playing left field.
Let's take a look at the Cubs defense, brought to you by Pepsi. Rodriguez, Johnson, and Sosa left to right. Ori, Blauser, Morandini, and Grace, and a battery of Kevin Tapani and Scott Service.
Tapani, a 9-3 record, and a line drive into left field. It's going to reach the wall. Who said Floyd can't lead off? He chugs into second with a leadoff Marlin double.
Cliff Floyd in the last exhibition game for the Marlins went 4 for 5 after having a miserable spring. But he starts out in pretty good shape as he takes this one into the gap. Tapani, who had a tough spring with an ERA over 6, got a fastball up and out over the plate. And Cliff Floyd, a local Chicago area boy, drove it into the gap for a double. And the problem for the Marlins will not be on offense. They're going to be okay, especially when they get Bonilla back. They're going to have their pitching problems, but this is still a pretty decent everyday lineup.
Here's Renteria. Fine shortstop, and the first pitch from Tap is high and away. Renteria last year hit .277, 4 homers, 52 runs batted in. And Kevin Tapani, a 9-3 record. You hope he can duplicate those numbers over the course of a full, healthy season for the Cubs. And that's down and away, 2-0.
It's early in the ball game. You're 3 runs down, and if you're Renteria, you're thinking about hitting the ball to the right side. You want to move Floyd along, make sure you get a run early, and close the gap somewhat. You anticipate your pitcher, Livan Hernandez, getting a little tougher, and there's Bobby Bonilla, who had 2 surgeries in the offseason.
That pitch right through there, 2 balls and a strike. They think Bobby Bo might be back by the 10th or 11th of April.
Well, he had Achilles tendon surgery. That's okay, and he had his wrist operated on. His wrist was a problem, but they figure he's going to be back. And then Josh Booty, who had a very good spring and is an improving player, will go down and get at bats in AAA.
Chopped foul at the plate. It's 2-2. Well, if Booty can't work out as a third baseman, maybe he ought to head over to Dolphins training camp. They might need a quarterback there pretty soon.
He was one of the most highly recruited quarterbacks in high school, signed at LSU, and then decided to play baseball. And there were a lot of people in Louisiana most unhappy about that decision, although 1,000,006 reasons for Josh Booty.
Yeah, that's right. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Renteria with Cliff Floyd at second. And count now full 3-2. The General Mark Clark. He'll go tomorrow in game 2 down here in Florida against Felix Heredia. Boy, it's different when you don't talk about Kevin Brown and Al Leiter and Alex Fernandez on this Florida pitching staff. Payoff pitch. Foul back to the screen.
Outfield shading Renteria around toward right center. There's a lot of room in the gaps here. The only thing about the ballpark that's really different than most parks, it's 434 in left of center field, which is a huge expanse of green between the left and right and center fielder.
Again, the payoff, and he walked him. 2 on, nobody out. Well, here comes the Marlins' leading hitter out of spring training, the rookie Ryan Jackson.
Well, normally you would face Sheffield in the number 3 spot if you have Bonilla in your lineup. And last year when you had Alou and Bonilla, you had Sheffield hitting third, and it was a problem. Now you have a rookie, and if you're Kevin Tapani, you're thinking about a ground ball, turn 2, and at least help yourself get out of the inning.
Well, Henry Rodriguez hit the 3-run homer. Maybe we can check out the double play combo of Blauser and Morandini. Down and in, 1-0. Jackson from Sarasota, Florida. One of 4 Marlins from the Sunshine State on their roster.
He had 26 home runs, drove in 98 at Portland last year, where he hit 312. And then he tore everything up in the Grapefruit League. So this young man has some talent.
Well, 1-0. Good pitch, 1-1.
Kevin Tapani discovered something last year in that he could win without using the split finger fastball. When he came back and the hand wasn't strong enough yet, he developed an outstanding changeup, and that was the one pitch that allowed him to go 9-3. And that off-speed pitch probably will mystify Jackson.
There it was, and he missed it by a foot, 1-2. He's probably thinking to himself, boy, they don't throw like this down in Double-A, do they?
Well, here's the good change, and Jackson well out ahead of it. This one just disappears.
Well, now Tap's got him set up. The 1-2. Ripped hard into right field. There's a base hit. Floyd rounds third. He's going to score. Renteria to third. It's 3-1. The rookie singles here in the bottom of the first.
First base hit and first run batted in, and Ryan Jackson will keep that baseball. And with 14 rookies on this team, they're going to be throwing out a lot of baseballs this year. Here's another changeup, and as you can see this time, it got a little too much of the plate. And Jackson went down and ripped it into right field. And just like that, the 3-run lead reduced to a 2-run lead with the ominous presence of Gary Sheffield stepping in.
A quick conference on the mound. Scott Service and Tapani talk things over. This guy, Gary Sheffield, walked over 120 times last year, hit 250, had 21 home runs. But he still hears a few boos down here in South Florida.
Well, they expect him on a daily basis to live up to the $66 million contract. When you're making $11 million a year, they expect you to hit 80 home runs and drive in 200. And of course, as you know, that's not going to happen. But this guy can flat out hit.
And he had a vicious cut there, and he fouled it back. It's 0-1.
A lot of speculation about Sheffield is they will keep him for about half the season. Take a look at some of the contenders who might want to take on a huge salary, but maybe add that one bomber that can put you over the top. And very few people expect Gary Sheffield to spend the entire year here. They expect him to move on to a contending team as this season moves along.
Runners at the corners, nobody out. Down and away.
Sheffield doesn't strike out a lot, and that makes him unique for a power hitter. However, the Cubs at this point are going to trade the double play for the run and try to stay out of the big innings. So on a ground ball, they're going to turn 2, and they're not going to worry very much about Renteria at third.
Swing and a miss. 1-2. Well, Tap's got Sheffield set up as he had Ryan Jackson a moment ago. Let's see if he can polish him off here.
Sheffield, historically one of the toughest hitters in all of baseball to use the changeup. He waits back, keeps the weight on the back foot. More important than that, keeps his hands back and usually clobbers anybody's changeup.
Fastball just missed. Tap thought he had him punched out. Count evens 0-2.
Tapani trying to go to the outside corner. Frank Pulley says, try it again.
Popped him up foul back our way.
This is a right-hand hitter's paradise. It's only 330 down the line and left. It's only 361 to the power alley, and even though you have to go above the scoreboard to hit it out, right-hand hitters will tell you that they should pay to hit here. Left-hand hitters, it's a different story. It's tough normally to get it out. But it is much livelier in the daytime than it is at night here at Pro Player Stadium.
And we've seen that already. 2-2. Runners at the corners. Cubs leading 3-1 in the first. In the dirt. So now the count's full 3-2 with Mark Kotsay waiting on deck.
Last year, Jackson only stole 2 bases. He doesn't have great speed. And you wonder if Jim Leyland, with a man who doesn't fan very often, would risk sending him here. You might get to strike him out, throw him out if you could get the ball by Sheffield.
The payoff pitch. Runner doesn't go. Foul back again. Had him reaching. Edgar Renteria at third. Ryan Jackson at first. Still in the first. The payoff. Check swing. Fouled over the Marlin dugout.
Well, I will tell you something, Chip. In the first inning of this 1998 season, we've had more excitement than we had during the first 14 games of '97.
Well, there's no such thing as an ugly win, but I don't know about the ugly loss part. I know there are such a thing as those. Again, a 3-2 pitch due to the Marlins money man Sheffield. High pop. Mark Grace on the run is going to run out of real estate. Well, you're right. Sheffield is not going to go down without a fight, is he?
No, and this could be the key to either a decent inning for Tapani or a very tough inning for him. This becomes the biggest out of the inning. You get the ground ball here, let the run score, you get 2 outs. So this becomes the biggest pitch thus far for Kevin Tapani, and a look of concern on the face of Jim Riggleman, as well you would believe.
Swung on and belted deep toward left field. Marlins have the lead.
Do you think that one was windblown?
No.
I would say that he got every bit of that ball. That went up there in Andres Galarraga territory, up into the upper deck over the Bob Greasy sign. This is a fastball inner half, and Gary Sheffield absolutely crushes this ball. Wow. He hits it so hard that before it landed, Phil Regan was coming out of the dugout. And Kevin Tapani with an ominous start to this 1998 season. So both starting pitchers rocked in the first, and the 3-run lead short-lived indeed.
And still nobody out. Well, nobody said it was going to be easy.
Well, you know, we sit right next to Ron Santo and Pat Hughes, and after Henry Rodriguez hit his 3-run homer, Ron Santo was starting to measure his finger for the ring. Now the coach doesn't look quite as happy.
Here's Kotsay, takes high and away. Gary Sheffield's '98 season starts with a big-time bang. And you're right, Stoney, these guys are going to be all right on offense. And that's a line drive to right. Sammy misplayed it. It skips past him to the wall. Kotsay's going to round second. He's going to take the turn. He's going to slide in safe.
Sammy played a single into a triple, and we'll have to wait to see the official score. It looked for a moment that Sammy would make the catch, but it was a sinking line drive. And we'll watch it again. Sammy breaks back, and that's where the mistake is made. Then he lets it get by him, and Kotsay, a very promising youngster, goes all the way to third. And at this point, it goes to a 3-base hit.
Well, I think they just changed it. A single and a 2-base error now on Sammy.
That's really what it should be.
So runner at third, nobody out. And Charlie Johnson, the catcher, swings and misses. Already activity in the Cubs pen, as Tapani doesn't have much today. Johnson fouls that one off, and he's in a quick 0-2 hole.
The infield is back in the middle, conceding the run to try to stay out of what already has been a nightmarish first inning. And there you look at some of the totals on a very talented young man, and Amari Telemaco starting to loosen up.
He overthrew that one, 1-2. How different is it, or difficult is it, Steve, for the Cubs who play their spring training games out in Arizona, where you don't get much movement on your breaking ball or your pitches in particular, to come down here to Florida where it is so humid? Does that have any effect at all?
Well, usually the breaking ball is a little bit better, and this is a real easy play, and it will freeze Kotsay at third, so there is a break and an excuse me swing.
Johnson check swings. Mark picks it up, steps on the bag. Finally, the first out of the inning. Fourth, Marlins have the lead. Let's pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Well, the hero of the World Series for the Marlins, as we're back in Pro Player Stadium, Chip Caray, Steve Stone, as Craig Counsell stands in. Boy, you talk about a dream season. That kid lived a life that a Hollywood scriptwriter couldn't have dreamed of writing.
Found himself with a championship ring, and now he finds himself with the infield in at all 4 positions. He's a man who started with the Colorado Rockies last year, found himself going to the World Series and winning it.
That one foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If you're Counsell in this situation, you don't want to hit the ball on the ground because you've got the infield in. You're looking for something that is waist high or above, anything you can hit in the air. Obviously, the best arm in the outfield belongs to Sammy Sosa. And unless it's hit very short to left or center, the run's going to score.
Just fouled past first. Real jam job there. And Counsell now in a 1-2 hole.
Here's where a lot of pressure will fall to Scott Service, because ahead of Counsell, you don't want to give him anything too good. You might be nipping low and away. Ball might wind up in the dirt. Of course, Scott's going to have to try to block everything he can to keep Kotsay at third.
The 1-2. Evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Josh Booty waiting on deck. Cubs had a 3-run lead after a half inning. The Marlins strike back with 4 here in the first themselves. And we're not out of the woods yet. The 2-2. Ripped into right. Fair ball. Kotsay scores. Counsell round second. He's on his way to third. The relay not in time.
Counsell rips a fastball. This one just tailed back out over the plate. You know that Kevin wanted to get it inside. He didn't get it there. It hits the chalk line and bounds into the corner for 3. And it's a 5-3 game. A meeting at the mound. They want Telemaco to be able to get a little looser out there. And we'll see just how much patience Jim Riggleman has. I'm not sure if you want to go to the bullpen quite yet. They've got to let Kevin Tapani try to get some innings under his belt. But still, only 1 out here in what has been a nightmarish first inning.
5 runs, 5 hits, an error as well. And another runner at third. The infield again is in. And Josh Booty, the number 8 hitter in the lineup, digging in.
Booty probably has more power than any 8th hitter in the National League. This man can hit him as far as Sheffield. He doesn't hit the breaking ball very well. He doesn't hit the off speed very well. But Milt May has been working to shorten his stroke, and he's made some strides this spring.
Swung late at a fastball. A ball and a strike.
He's a big kid. He's 6'3", 220 some pounds, and a wonderful third baseman defensively. His hitting has not kept up with his defense, however. But he's got a chance to be a pretty good one.
Tap foul at the plate. It's 1-2. Seems to me this Marlin team might have gotten a pregame speech from Jim Leyland, something to the effect of, nobody thinks you guys have a chance this year, and they have come out smoking hot in this first inning. All these youngsters in their starting lineup, they may not know how to succeed, but they probably don't know how to fail either. That just missed. 2-2.
I would think now you would try to throw something off speed, something away from Booty, get him trying to reach for the ball. You've got the infield in. You want the ball on the ground. We'll take a look. There's the changeup. Let's see if Kevin can keep it down.
He did, but too far so. And again, a 3-2 count. Broken bat, roller towards short. One play only to first. It's 6-3 as Craig Counsell scores, and the Marlins will bat around here in the bottom of the first inning.
The ball was a jam shot. It broke the bat of Booty, and Blauser had only one play, that to first base. And so the Cubs have seen the Marlins, the very young Marlins, put 6 on the board in the first.
And Hernandez takes a late swing and fouls it down the right field line for an 0-1 count. Here's another one of these Marlins who lived a dream last year to come from Cuba to the MVP of the World Series. That caught the corner, 0-2.
And he really had a lot of problems in the wintertime. He had to trade in his Ferrari for a Mercedes so he could fit the golf clubs in the trunk. And when you have those kind of problems, you know that things are going pretty well for you.
Yeah, what's that like? That stayed high.
I don't know. I would like to find out one day, but it's not going to be through pitching any longer.
9 men have taken to the box against Tapani in the first. 0-1-2. Out away. A long inning. Little chopper to the mound. And it comes to a merciful end. 6-run score. 5 hits, an error as well, and after one, the Marlins now lead it 6-3.
It is really early.
Livan Hernandez last year, just as we said, the World Series MVP, clinched it against the Braves with 15 punch-outs, and there's that very wide Eric Gregg strike zone.
It's his 15th.
And now he's got a 3-run cushion after one, and young Kevin Ory digs in.
Kevin had a very solid spring. Jeff Pentland, the hitting coach, working with him extensively. They tried to have him quiet his upper body, keep his hands still, and he drives the ball into right center now, and he does it very well when the pitchers stay away from him.
Which Hernandez does twice in a row and misses. Tapani fired it 44 times in the first inning. On a hot, muggy day. A 2-ball, 1-strike count to the Cubs' third baseman. Well, the way Hernandez pitched in spring training, you got to think that 6 runs may not be enough.
he's not going to finish this one. The question is, will that bullpen without Rob Nen be able to close down games? And that's a question to be answered by Jay Powell,
who has 4 career saves.
Big shoes to fill as Nen moves on to San Francisco, which enabled the Cubs to acquire Rod Beck.
Strike called outside corner. It's 2-2.
That is the new closer. And the question is, with 14 rookies, how many times will be called on to close?
That's into the Cubs dugout. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Corey had a fine rookie season because he very rarely swung at bad pitches, and for a young man, he had a real good eye for the strike zone, something you don't see in young hitters.
8 home runs. Does that concern you? And maybe that's an unfair word, concern, but
no,
or surprise you.
It really doesn't, even though he is going to hit home runs because he's a big, strong young man. He was just feeling his way last year, and I think the power is going to come to him a lot like it came to Ryne Sandberg. He had years early when he was primarily a right center field hitter, a hit and run man, and later on he became a very powerful second baseman. The same thing will happen to Ori.
The payoff. Swung on, hammered deep toward right center field. Long run for Kotze. Still going at the track. He hauls it in. Boy, the ball is really carrying out toward right center. We saw Henry Rodriguez in the top of the first hit a ball to that exact same spot. That put the Cubs up 3-0. But moments later, Gary Sheffield went to the upper deck of the fish tank and gave the Marlins the lead.
Well, very rarely will you see the ball carry to right and right center field. But today, with the wind swirling here, and it is a very windy day in South Florida, you're getting a lot of carry to right and right center.
Scott Service takes low. And now 2 balls, no strikes. Last thing Hernandez wants to do is issue any free passes. He's got a big lead here. Hop foul backing out of play. It's 2-1. They announced today's crowd as a sellout here in South Florida. They're calling this opening day. They did not hand out the championship rings yet for the Marlins. They'll do that on April 5th. They're calling tomorrow night's game opening night for game 2 of this series. And about half as many fans are expected to attend tomorrow night's game as we have with us this afternoon.
Jim Leyland looking on with a vastly different team. And as you would expect, opening day at Wrigley Field, standing room only seats left, but there are plenty of seats for the weekend.
And friends, get your magnet schedule this opening day weekend against the Montreal Expos. They'll be given out to the first 20,000 fans on April 3rd, 4th, and 5th. For those tickets, stop by the Wrigley Field box office, any Ticketmaster ticket outlet, or call 312-831-Cubs. Here's Tapani. He tries to bunt the runner over and fouls it back. Lance Johnson waiting on deck. Marlins 6, Cubs 3 as we battle here in the 2nd inning. That pitch stayed high.
A couple of walks already for Hernandez. That's most unusual for him. He had real good control last year. As you take a look at Tom Gamboa, the new third base coach for the Cubs.
The 1-1. Fouled away again. It's 1-2.
Hernandez trying to stay up high, perhaps forcing a pop-up, and that one fouled away.
The 1-2 showing bunt again, and he waves at it and strikes out.
Johnson took the first pitch of the game, but it would be an upset if he took another pitch here. He loves to swing at the first pitch. And with a guy in center field that doesn't have that great speed, this becomes a great doubles and triples park for Lance Johnson. So let's see if he goes after the first offering of Livan Hernandez.
Lance, of course, last year bothered by the shin splint problem. And if he can play a full schedule, you'd like to think he's going to be a 170, 180, 190 hit a year guy. Still with good speed. The 1-0 to him. Low and away. 2 balls, no strikes.
Cubs would like to take advantage of Hernandez early because he quite obviously doesn't have the control that will come to him as this game moves along. And there's that front shin guard.
And now Hernandez falls way behind. 3 balls, no strikes. Well, the way the ball's jumping out of the joint this afternoon, we'll take a walk and take our chances. Here comes the 3-0. And on 4 straight, Johnson walks. 3rd walk of the game now. And that's the last thing Jimmy Leland wants to see with a 3-run lead.
Well, he's got a brand new pitching coach this year, and it's Rich Doobie, taking the place of Larry Rothschild, who became the Devil Rays manager. Larry Rothschild, an excellent pitching coach, and they're going to miss him. But Doobie has been around, minor league pitcher, and he'll have his work cut out for him here in South Florida.
Mickey Morandini had the first hit of the year back in the first, and he takes high, and Charles Johnson spots something in the Hernandez delivery and takes time out.
This has been the problem with Hernandez this spring. That's the fact that everything is up high, and there's a new pitching coach, Rich Doobie. He's keeping track of everything that Hernandez is throwing. And he can't be very happy with the way he's throwing the ball early in this one.
Johnson at first, Scott Service at second. And a 1-0 count due to the Cubs second baseman Mickey Morandini. Here it is. A good breaking ball.
Best arm in the outfield, Gary Sheffield in right field. Kotsay and Floyd don't throw particularly well in center and left.
Swing and a miss.
Hernandez takes something off this one. It's a straight change, and Morandini swings over the top of it. You don't see many straight changes from Hernandez, and Morandini was completely fooled.
A ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball swung on high, pop center. Kotsay broke in, now drifts back, still going, twisting in the wind. And he makes the play and retires the side. No runs, no hits. 2 left after 1.5. Marlins 6, Cubs 3. After a 6-run first inning, the Marlins batted around. Can we start over? Floyd, who led the game off with a double, is buzzsawed inside. Floyd, as you mentioned, Steve, had a terrible spring at just 179, struck out 26 times. But he got the Marlins offensive season off with a bang by ripping a shot and later scoring.
Floyd is awfully strong, and it looked like he was going to be a star with Montreal, and then he had a terrible broken wrist that required a couple of surgeries, and he's never been the same, but he's very strong and can hit the ball a long way.
That one off his fists and on the infield. Mark Grace with that sore toe makes the play, and the Cubs get the leadoff man here in the second inning. 1 out, nobody aboard. Floyd 1 for 2, and the shortstop Edgar Renteria the batter.
Certainly Jim Riggleman would love to see Kevin Tapani settle down somewhat after 44 pitches in the first inning. He would love to get 5 or 6 innings out of him before going to that bullpen and depleting that pen, because you don't have any off days coming up.
1 ball, no strikes. He walked and scored. ahead of that monstrous Gary Sheffield home run. The lights pop on as Renteria fouls it back. Out of play, a ball and a strike. Very muggy day here in South Florida. That's nothing new. It's always like this down here. But the sun's been playing peekaboo behind the clouds most of the day, and it's getting darker by the second. Towards short. Jeff Blauser to his right. 2 down. So the first two are retired. Blauser handles the chance with ease, and Ryan Jackson ahead.
This is more like the Kevin Tapani we saw at the end of last year. You get ahead of the hitters, you wipe them out by keeping the ball in on their hands or keeping it down, and quickly 2 outs.
And a big swing. Jackson singled, knocked in his first Major League RBI, has scored his first Major League run. Did all of that his first time around. What can he do to top that here in the second? There's a quick strike, 0-2. Well, he's going right after him now. It looked like he was nibbling a bit in the first inning.
All the butterflies by the boards now, and he knows he's got to pick up some innings and hold them right there.
The change missed low, a ball and 2 strikes. Bouncer toward first and foul past Charlie Williams. Love to see a guy playing hurt, or at least trying to play through the pain. Mark Grace with a broken right toe. You see the guard on top of that right foot. And Tapani strikes him out. A big-time 1-2-3 inning, just what the doctor ordered. Marlins down in order in the second, but they lead it 6-3. Game. Hot afternoon here. Fans young and old enjoying opening day. Boy, this is just like your birthday and Christmas and the New Year all wrapped up into one. Nothing like opening day in the major leagues. And the fans here have seen a wild game so far as Sammy Sosa leads it off. You bring your glove, you bring the hat, you put on the uniform of the home team, and you hope you catch a foul pop. And more than likely you fall asleep in mom or dad's lap and head home happy. One ball, 1 strike to Sammy Sosa, leading off the Cubs' 3rd inning. And you don't even have to watch the game to have a good time. 1-1. Busted him inside, and he took it for strike 2.
Sammy hit the ball very well the first time up, only to see Gary Sheffield make a fine play. And this fastball shaves off the inside corner and freezes him at 1-2.
Breaking ball hammered again toward right. Sheffield on the run. That ball bounces off the wall. Sosa takes the big turn. It's a long single. You can't hit a ball any harder than he just did. But Sheffield, with that great arm, held him to the single.
The only time you get in trouble on this one is if you get trapped too close to the wall, and Sheffield plays it perfectly. Sammy takes that breaking ball and hits it exactly the way he should, high off the wall, and Sheffield, with a gun for an arm, holds Sammy to the longest single you can hit in this park.
As Mark Grace stands in, Frank Pulley behind the plate, making sure everything's in order. And Sosa at first, always a threat to run. Down 3. Do you roll the dice here with the heart of the order coming up?
Well, the Cubs caught a break with the air on Johnson in the first inning when he threw it away, but you don't want to run too often on this guy because he's made a living shutting down opponents' running game. I would say also with Grace up, you want to keep the right side of the infield open in case he does pull the ball through that hole.
Breaking ball took it low, a ball and a strike.
Problem is with Grace, with that bad foot, he's not going to be able to run very well. And if he does hit the ball on the ground, Sammy's going to have to take out the pivot man at second and stay out of the double play.
Good lead from Sammy, draws a throw, and he dives back safely. Cubs down 3, trying to get some of it back here in the top of the 3rd. Another throw, closer play, but he was back safely.
Hernandez gave him a head fake and had Sammy leaning the wrong way, and he's just able to get back. You see, he was going, but fortunately in just under Jackson's tag.
Not going this time. The pitch popped up. Will it stay in play? Booty and Johnson near the Cubs dugout, and they collide.
Well, that's a much easier play for Booty. I have no idea what Charles Johnson is doing going over there, and he could pick up his second error. This is a real easy play for the third baseman, and even if you're a Gold Glove catcher, you got to get out of the way, and Johnson just misses it.
Wow, coming in 10 errors, none in 973 straight chances, and Johnson maybe with 2 already in this game. Oh, and no error on the play. That's some hometown scoring, folks.
There's no doubt about that. That's an E all the way.
But a break for Gracie. And the count now 2-2.
Well, now if you decide this is not a bad time to run, you figure that Hernandez probably throws something close to the strike zone. Grace very rarely strikes out, and you stay out of the double play if you run with Sosa.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Not going. Breaking ball popped him up this time. That will stay in play. Hernandez hollers at Booty to take it, and he does. So Grace pops up. Sosa stays at first. And the Cubs hitting hero so far, Henry Rodriguez, will dig in.
Well, normally if you hit an off-speed pitch out of the ballpark the first time up, you go up there the second time looking fastball and probably fastball away. Let's see what Charles Johnson decides to do.
Breaking ball right down the middle. And Henry, I think, was thinking with you. He took the curve.
Well, Johnson did set up away. I think that Hernandez got a little too much of the plate for Johnson's liking.
And now time called quickly. Johnson a little skittish here. Already 1 error. Should have 2. The 0-1. There's the fastball away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Things starting to cloud up just a touch here in South Florida.
Sammy, a good lead. Fakes, doesn't go, and Henry swung late and fouled it back. The wind is shifting a little bit, so there is an outside shot. We might see a little liquid sunshine here in Miami. All the runs scored in the first inning here at Pro Players Stadium.
The Cincinnati Reds, who traded their #1 starter just a day before the season opened, had a tough time with San Diego today, dropping one 10-2.
Yeah, thanks a lot. As Jack McKeon saying today.
Well, it was Kevin Brown going for San Diego. Normally you get him 10 and you gotta like your chances.
Way outside, trying to break him. Ball may have slipped. It's 2-2. Well, the Brewers are in the National League. They're supposed to play in Atlanta today. Last score we had was 1-1. The 2-2 runner goes, swinging a foul back. That's going to be an interesting ball club, Milwaukee. With Phil Garner, the manager, they have felt for many years they've played National League style baseball. This year, we get to see if they do.
What's going to be interesting, Chip, is seeing how a team that was built around a designated hitter adjusts to having to hit with their pitcher and not have that one big bat in the middle of the lineup, which can balance out a lineup that might otherwise be a little bit weaker.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Sosa again leads, doesn't go. The pitch, bouncing ball right side. Counsell dives from his knees. Good play.
Craig Counsell, a big favorite here in South Florida, and you can see why. Outstanding effort, diving to his left, taking a base hit away from Rodriguez. from his knees with a good solid throw to Jackson to retire Henry.
Hail, hail to old Notre Dame indeed. Nice play by the young second baseman. But Sosa is at second now with 2 outs. And the Cubs shortstop Jeff Blauser will stand in. He was caught looking on 3 pitches his first time up. And a breaking ball misses. 1 ball, no strikes. This guy has always hit well at Wrigley Field. But you have to like what he brings as far as the intangibles are concerned to your clubhouse too. Swung on, line drive into right field, like that, a base hit. Sosa rounds third, he's going to score, and Blauser comes through with a big 2-out hit. And the Marlin lead is now cut to 2. It's 6-4. Those are some of the intangibles I'm talking about.
Well, 2-out RBI singles certainly will pick up a ball club, and Jeff Blauser drives home the 4th Cub run. This breaking ball hit off the end of the bat, dumps it over the head of Jackson. And it's a 2-run Marlin lead.
And Blauser gets the baseball, his first hit in RBI as a member of the Cubs. And it makes it a 6-4 ball game. All the runs scored by the Cubs have come with 2 outs so far in the game. And Kevin Orie a chance with 1 swing of the bat to even the score here. Kevin fly to center his first time up. Now he takes low. 1 ball, no strikes. This might end up being a football score by the time the day is over. We might have a 14-13 opening day here.
Well, hopefully Kevin Tapani can emulate what he did in the 2nd inning. He looked terrific.
Good breaking ball from the young Livan Hernandez. And a count, a ball and a strike. Riggleman's Cubs within 2, and Orie sends a drive deep toward left. Floyd on the run, still going. That ball's over his head, off his glove at the track. Blauser rounds third. He's got the green light. He's going to score. It's a 6-5 game. Another big 2-out hit.
We talked about some defensive deficiencies, and Cliff Floyd didn't play this ball very well. The ball is hit off the end of the bat, and Floyd lets it get by him, and that allows Blauser to score all the way from first. So the Cubs cut the lead to 1.
And still 2 outs, and Scott Service the batter. Scott walked and was stranded back in the Cubs' second. A 6-5 game on opening day. And that's outside. No activity in the Marlins bullpen. That does not surprise you, considering the inexperience they have in the pen.
Normally you'd say you'd be very careful with Service here with Tapani up next. But Hernandez has used a lot of pitches through 2 2/3.
And that one missed high. 2-0. This is a good indication of how it's going to be for the Marlins this year. The pitch, breaking ball to beauty. And you got to wonder about Jim Leland's long-term future here in South Florida. When he came here to manage a winner. I don't know that he came here to oversee another rebuilding effort like he had in Pittsburgh. The 2-1. Fastball hit a mile high. Renteria and Counsell at short. Renteria's got it, puts the squeeze on it, and retires the side. But 2 runs, 3 hits. They all come with 2 outs due to runs, and after 2.5, it's a 6-5 Marlin game. Throughout the 1998 season, and Wrigley Field's a great place to spend your summer, so mark your calendars now. For tickets, stop by the Wrigley Field box office, any Ticketmaster Ticket Center, or call 312-831-CUBS. I can't wait for opening day at Wrigley with Montreal Expos in town. Hope it's as warm there as it is here.
And after opening day, where standing room only seats remain, there's plenty of seats throughout the entire homestand.
Here's Gary Sheffield, public enemy number 1 if you're a Cubs fan. He hit a
baseball that's still sailing out of this place in the bottom half of the first. And that's low from Tapani, 2-0. I don't know how in the world this guy is able to get the bat back through the hitting zone, the way he wiggles that thing around at the top of his batting stance.
Well, Chip, you can set up anywhere you want to, but you have to drop your hands into the hitting zone when the pitch is on the way. And he's got as quick a hands as there is in the National League and probably all of baseball. And that's why it's very difficult to get the ball inside. And he can take it down the line without hooking it because his hands are so quick.
That's what he did in the first. Whoa, look out. Tapani lost control and drilled it. That's something that happened to Sheffield quite a bit last year. That and the frustration of 120 walks and a big contract and all the expectations. Not what Sheffield wants to see much more of this year either.
Well, that's one of the reasons why he's wearing that big pad on his elbow, because he sees a lot of pitches inside, and Phil Regan is going to the mound to settle down Tapani. He got hit on the hip. And there's going to be a lot of people this year, and I know he walked 120 times last year. I'm going to predict if he stays here, he's going to probably walk more than that this year, Chip, because if you look at their lineup, and I know that Kotsay is rated as a pretty good hitter. You got Johnson up behind him. You're not going to pitch to Sheffield with the game on the line ever. You're going to make sure someone else in that lineup beats you. Now, in the first inning, Tapani didn't have much of a choice, and it was early in the ball game, so he pitched to him and he got burned. But you're going to see a lot of the National League pitchers pitching around Sheffield.
And they still did it quite a bit last year, even when they had Bobby Bonilla and Moises Alou hitting around. So Sheffield, all right, I think. It hit him in a safe spot, the wallet, and he's at first. And Mark Kotsay, the hitter. He singled and scored himself back in the first. Sheffield, hit by a pitch, is a threat to go. And low and away, 1-0.
Well, the Marlins love this young man, Mark Kotsay. They figure that he is a 300 hitter just waiting to happen. And they love his baseball acumen. They think that he really understands how to play the game. He might not be the best center fielder around, but he's going to be a very solid hitter.
Has kind of an open batting stance in the left-hand box. And so many Marlins now, obviously with no major league experience until today, this is a team that's still got a chance to be a force in a couple of years. The 2-0 pitch is low. Reason being, they didn't just give Kevin Brown away. They didn't just give Moises Alou away. They are trying to rebuild this franchise by stocking their farm system once again.
Well, I think you have to credit Dave Dombrowski there, Chip, because, you know, when there's a fire sale, when opposite teams know that you got to trade a lot of salaries, you just don't get the proper value for the guys you traded. But they got some very good young players. There you look at a brand new father, Dave Dombrowski, and his wife Carrie just had a baby girl, 4 weeks old.
I saw Dave in the press room. I said, sleep's overrated, isn't it? And he just kind of chuckled. Yeah, it sure is. Fouled away. Count is full 3-2.
And with Sheffield going, you have to figure he's also going 3-2. This would be a good time for Kevin Tapani to make a quick move to first base. You might find Sheffield a little adventuresome, and maybe you can pick him off.
And by the way, just to finish the point on the Marlins and all their dealing, they may not be done yet. John Cangelosi and Jim Eisenreich reportedly on the block as they still are trying to cut well over $1 million in salary. The 3-2 pitch sliced into left center field. It'll drop in front of Johnson. Sheffield makes the turn. No throw to third. They're at the corners. Nobody out. That was a nice piece of hitting.
Well, the hit and run worked to perfection. Kotsay took the ball out away and didn't try to pull it. If you try to pull that ball, you're going to ground to second. But by slapping it into left center, you allow Sheffield to go all the way to third. He's going to run every chance he gets on Lance Johnson. So it's no surprise that Lance gets his ball into second to try to keep the double play in order. And you've got a wonderful double play target in Charles Johnson, who does not run very well and hits a lot of ground balls.
And who grounded weakly on a check swing roller his first time up. It's a one-run game. Let's see if Tap can pitch himself a miracle here and get out of the inning with no further damage. He got the leadoff man in the second, breezed through the inning. Then he hit Gary Sheffield to start the frame. Kotze is singled to left. And now they're at the corners with nobody down. And that almost hit Johnson. 1 ball, no strikes. Terry Mulholland continues to warm in the Cubs bullpen.
Johnson, an inviting strikeout target, has a big swing. He's very powerful.
And a home run cut. Fouled it away. Is this guy the best young catcher in the game?
Well, defensively, he's without peer. He can catch it, throw it, block it, and do just about everything he has to do defensively. He's still got a little learning to do offensively, but he hits a lot of home runs for a catcher.
Ball and a strike. Throw to first. I know the American League fans will say, hey, what about Pudge Rodriguez down in Texas, who's got a cannon for an arm?
Also a wonderful catcher with a few more years under his belt, however, than Charles Johnson. But Charles is just outstanding defensively.
Swung on. That's hammered deep toward left. Say adios.
Well, we told you about the power of Charles Johnson. There was not much doubt about that one. And no sooner do the Cubs come crawling back in this one than they find the Marlins putting another 3 spot on the board and taking a 4-run lead.
And that's going to be it for Kevin Tapani today. 9 runs, 7 hits, a couple of long home runs. And Stoney, it looked like he was never able to settle in from the very opening of today's ball game.
Bad control, and that translates into a lot of runs.
This ball was crushed. Almost the same spot that Sheffield hit. And we'll be right back. (9-5) our score. Charles Johnson from Miami, FLA, wakes up the home crowd.
Well, Charles hit 19 last year in 124 games, and this is a bomb not quite as far as Gary Sheffield, but certainly far enough. We told you this is a right-hand hitter's paradise, and Kevin Tapani was just battered around today in 2+ innings. And there's Terry Mulholland, what he did last year between the Chicago Cubs and San Francisco Giants, and for the first 21 starts, Terry Mulholland was a terrific pitcher for the Cubs.
But got no run support. And now he opens up with a pitch low and away to Craig Counsell, who tripled home run and scored in the 6-run Marlins first. Cubs led this game 3-0 after a half inning. Things were looking great. And then Gary Sheffield with 1 swing of the bat erased a 3-1 lead. Cubs picked up 2 last half of the inning, but the Marlins have gotten 3 back and lead it 9-5. 2 balls and a strike to Craig Counsell. The 2-1 off the end of the bat and foul out of play. Unofficially, Tap with 67 pitches, 39 strikes.
2+ innings, 9 runs on 7 hits with a walk, a strikeout, and a hit batsman. And a very disappointing outing for Kevin Tapani, but it's the first of many for Kevin Tapani.
The 2-2. Weak swing towards second. No more. Morandini has it. Close play. Counsell really hustles down the line. That's why he's a fan favorite. He runs every ball out and runs hard.
Well, that's all they ask of you, is give you a good effort every time, and Counsell really hustling down the line makes it a bang play at first, and he's out by a half step.
So 1 finally out for Josh Booty, and he takes high and tight.
There is a patch of your grandfather.
Pretty good likeness, isn't it?
Very much so.
The 1-0 off his fists and foul. Well,
Right
no
now,
grandpas.
if Harry's up there with Bill Veck sharing a beer, probably calling for Kerry Wood to be called up from the minor leagues. Your grandfather never had much patience. You know.
I know. Believe me. When the heck are you getting married? When are you going to give me a great-grandchild? Ground ball to left side. Blauser gobbles it up, throws him out.
Well, you know, we did have the first production meeting of the year early today, and you were there with the rest of a brand new staff trying to come together. But after that meeting, Arnie Harris and I had a little meeting of our own, just Arnie and I, and we decided we wanted you to keep up a tradition that your grandfather started when Arnie and I came together with him, which means you pay for everything. Every time we go to eat, you pay. And if you can continue that tradition, Arnie and I are going to be very happy.
Well, then Mr. Dowdle and Mr. Zerwick and I are going to have a little bit of a conversation after the game today. Oh, shoot. Well, I know Grandpa's watching, and we're thinking of you, pal. We miss you terribly. Here's Blauser. Double clutch. Makes Hernandez run a bit down the line. We'll see if that helps the Cubs in the fourth inning. But 3 more runs score on 2 hits. A hit batter as well. After 3, it's 9-5 Marlins. Through the fourth inning, Terry Mulholland did his job. Got the Cubs out of the woods with a 1-2-3. Bottom of the third, and now Brant Brown is going to pinch hit for him as the Cubs lead off the fourth inning.
And for a while, it looked like Brant Brown would be the opening day first baseman, but Mark Grace said, I can go, and I'm going to go, and I want to be here when the bell rings, and hopefully here all year long. So Brant comes off the bench and gets his first at bat, and it'll be Amari Telemaco pitching for the Cubs.
Brown hits it a mile high into shallow right. That'll be easy for Gary Sheffield. And there's one out. So Brant flies out to right in a 9-5 ball game. And Lance Johnson will be the hitter. He popped to short, walked, and was stranded in the Cubs' second.
I'm having a hard time believing that Lance has actually taken the first 2 pitches each time he's had an at-bat. That can't go on.
Let's see if he hacks away here. Tried to bunt his way on and fouled it away. No balls and a strike for Lance Johnson as he strolls back to the plate. Let's once again pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Back at Pro Player Stadium, I'm Chip Carey along with my partner Steve Stone. Opening day in South Florida.
Your 4-month-old daughter, who is sitting with your lovely wife Susan, has just awakened to see the score, and she's expressing her displeasure with the 9-5 score.
Either that or she's hungry as Johnson sends a drive deep toward right, but he hooked it foul and out of play. Well, she may only be 4.5 months old, but she has broadcaster's lungs. Especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. But that's okay.
Lance got a hold of that one and just missed, pulling it foul.
He took that one low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, that's the baby and my bride. There's Susan Ann Summerlin here in South Florida. Johnson serves that ball to left. Floyd plays that one pretty well. And there's out number 2. Mark Clark, Felix Heredia tomorrow evening here in South Florida. But still a ways to go in this one. It's a 9-5 ball game. And Mickey Morandini, the batter.
Cliff Floyd has a world of friends in Chicago. His folks are still back there. And I'm sure they're looking in today to find their son in the opening day lineup in left field, and found some new life here in Florida.
High and away. 2 balls, no strikes. That's outside 3-0. Well, Summerlin, I think a lot of Cubs fans are empathizing with what you're saying right now. And a rough afternoon so far. The 3-0 right down central.
Well, a long way to go in this one, and the Cubs have the kind of lineup where 4 runs doesn't make a great deal of difference. And if you can get into that pen you're going to be in pretty good shape.
Good cut, but foul away.
After Hernandez, they don't have a great deal in their rotation, nor do they have the strongest bullpen around. They got a lot of youngsters, unproven, and that's the Cubs' game plan. You know, the pitches starting to pile up for Livan Hernandez, so we're going to see somebody from middle relief today, and that's when the Cubs should put some more runs on the board.
3-2 pitch again is fouled away.
I think it becomes a pretty important outing for Amari Telemaco now that Mulholland has gotten the Cubs a few outs. It comes to Telemaco to try to hold Florida right there at 9. And if he can do that, I think the Cubs can come back in this one, but we'll see if Amari throws the ball a little better than he did during the springtime.
The 3-2 pitch. And fouled back. Well, this guy, I would imagine the fans in Chicago are going to love the way this guy plays the game. Mickey Morandini.
Well, he's a solid player, had a career year last year, but he's going to do quite a job, and he's going to be pretty tough on right-hand pitchers.
Again, the 3-2. Swung on, hammered toward the Bermuda Triangle. Kotsay got a great jump. Inning over. 3 up, 3 down for the Cubs in the 4th. We go to the bottom half. Amari Telemaco will try to shut the door in a 9-5 Marlin game.
Wasn't the best year for him, but he's trying to turn things around here today. He didn't have a particularly good spring, but the Cubs had a pretty good feeling if they sent him down to the minor leagues that they would lose him because he was out of options. And rather than do that, he's still young enough, big enough, and strong enough where they figure that he can come around if that slider comes around, and they're hoping that that will happen sooner rather than later.
A bunt attempt popped up. Service behind the plate's going to make the play. And Cliff Floyd trying to bunt his way on like a real leadoff hitter. Pops out.
Well, he's got tremendous speed for a big man, and all he had to do was get that bunt down, but he popped it up. When you drop the head of the bat, as he did there, you're going to pop it up every time, and it becomes a pretty easy play for Service.
So for only the 2nd time in the game, the Cubs have set down the leadoff man. It's here in the 4th. And Edgar Renteria is your batter. That's extra bases into the left field corner. Henry Rodriguez over quickly. It's a 1-out double. Five of the Marlins' 8 hits have been for extra bases already in the game.
First ball fastball, and this one catches too much of the plate. Edgar Renteria turns on it. They were playing him toward right center field, so nobody home down the left field line, and Renteria coasts into second base.
And Ryan Jackson again in that platoon with Derek Lee at first is your hitter. And Jimmy Riggleman trying to find an answer. String together some outs here. Low, 1 ball, no strikes. Breaking ball, a good one. It's 1-1.
That's the Telemaco slider, and when he keeps it there, it's an excellent pitch for him. If he has command of that, he can be pretty tough.
The 1-1. Strike called, a fastball. Renteria at second was bluffing toward third. I don't know if that distracted Jackson or not, but he took a fastball right down the middle.
They don't anticipate Jackson pulling the ball because Sammy is playing a little toward the line in right field. But there is a gap in right center for him.
1-2 is squibbed foul past first.
That one was fouled right off his foot. See Sammy playing fairly close to the line and the huge gap in right center, so they're hoping that Jackson doesn't turn on the ball and hit it into the gap because he can run all day.
Jackson, a former All-American at Duke. Swings, and that got a big chunk of the umpire, Frank Bully. Those guys take a beating behind the plate. Again, the 1-2 pitch due to Ryan Jackson. Here she comes. Breaking ball, chopped towards second. Easy play there. Runner at third, now 2 down. And danger, danger, Will Robinson. Here's Gary Sheffield.
I would think you'd want to be careful with Gary Sheffield. Even though Kotsay is 2 for 2 up behind him, he's not near the power threat of Gary Sheffield.
And you know he's going to be in a foul mood after getting hit in the hip last time up. He's got the Mr. T starters kit on too, doesn't he? It's amazing he can run so well with all that hardware on. First pitch to him is in the dirt. Good play by Scott Service to knock that one down.
And when you have a guy throwing a lot of sliders like Telemaco, and you know that you want to be careful with Sheffield, it becomes a tough job for Service, because when you try to guide sliders, they usually wind up in the dirt. So he's going to have to maybe block another 1 or 2 before this at bat is over.
Downstairs again. 2 balls, no strikes. Not a bad idea to be careful with this guy. He's already dented the tarp above the Bob Greasy sign in the upper deck once today. That missed high, I guess. Well, it's 3-0.
Well, you know he's got the 3-0 green light, and I would be amazed if Telemaco gives him anything to hit, because right now he's squeezing the sawdust out of the bat, looking for something middle in to hit over the Paul Warfield sign in left field.
And he takes ball 4. That would be impressive, but even more so if he could hit it over the Larry Little sign in left center. That's about 600 feet away from home plate.
Number 4, Mark Hudson.
Now, I know you could hit a golf ball that far.
Maybe.
Not much trouble.
That's a long way.
So they're at the corners with 2 outs. And Mark Kotsay's had a fine afternoon. Again, this Marlin team may struggle this season, but a couple of years from now, with all these youngsters growing up so quickly and all the talent they got in the trades they were forced to make, they might peak at the right time, for the Braves aren't getting much younger.
I don't think you're going to see him struggling all that much offensively. I really believe that the struggles will come from that starting rotation after Hernandez and a lot of that bullpen. Jim Leland's going to make a lot of trips to the mound this year.
Hasn't had to today, as his offense is given Livan Hernandez, who has struggled. 9 big runs.
Well, you unofficially have him at 90 pitches, and I don't think they want to see him go much over 110 or 15. So we're probably going to see a reliever in the 6th, depending on how he goes.
He overthrew that ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. But like the Marlins, you felt coming out of spring training, one of the question marks for the Cubs this season would be their middle relief. So a chance for Telemaco to perhaps answer some of those questions today.
Well, this is a big outing for him. He's going to slam the door on the Marlins to keep the Cubs close in this one.
Wild swing there. And Kotsay fouled it off.
Because it's not an if today at the 90 pitch mark through 4. It's a when the Cubs get into that bullpen. That's when you can put some numbers on the board, and that's why it's imperative for Amari Telemaco to hold them at 9.
Charles Johnson waiting on deck. He's hit a home run today as well. Two and two. Mets are batting in the bottom of the 14th inning at home against the Phillies. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Kotsay swings and misses, and Telemaco does the job. No runs, a hit, 2 men left. On we go to the 5th inning. Let's get some runs. It's 9-5 Fish. For the Cubs in the 5th, 9-5 our score. As we head to the top of the 5th, a chopper toward third. Booty can't make the play, nor can Renteria. He thought about throwing it before he caught it. Don't know if he would have gotten Sammy anyway.
I think that has to go as a base hit. But we'll wait and see what the official scorer has to say. As Sammy chops this one into the hole. Would have been a tough play. And there's been no decision yet.
So Grace will bat with a runner aboard here. It's a 9-5 game. Still very early. We've played just 4 innings. And with Livan Hernandez's pitch count starting to mount, the Marlins bullpen starts to get busy.
And I would think this could be a big inning for the Cubs. You've got to believe that Hernandez is starting to tire.
Grace, squib shot towards short. Renteria surrounds it. Gets Sammy there. Grace hustling down the line with a broken toe. Beats the wrap at first. Boy, you got to respect that.
Well, you know that Mark Grace is hurting, and yet he realizes how important beating out this double play is. Good slide by Sammy, doing everything he can, upending Counsell, who does a nice job of staying in and getting off the throw. And Gracie not running 100%, but giving it everything he's got. You've got to give him a lot of credit for getting down there in time to beat the throw, and that could turn into some runs for the Cubs.
Here's Henry Rodriguez. He takes high. 1 ball, no strikes.
And on a belated call, after Grace hits, they do indeed give Sammy a base hit. So he's 2 for 3 today.
Henry swings through it. A ball and a strike. He got the game going in grand fashion in the first. A line drive laser beam home run over the boards in right center field. That's the good news.
Cubs could use another one right here.
You bet. There's a shot toward right center field, but he got under it. Gary Sheffield gives it a squeeze. 2 down.
Number 4, Jeff Blauser.
Henry takes a look at a curveball, and this one stays up, but he just got under it, and he knows exactly where this one is going.
So Mark remains at first. Now 2 down for Jeff Blauser. He's got home run power, and heck, the only runs the Cubs have scored all day have been with 2 outs. Maybe here's another chance.
Well, I'm kind of surprised that Ryan Jackson is playing even that close to Grace. I would move back and allow him to steal if he wants, get a better angle in case Blauser does go to right field. Because there's no doubt that if you're reading the press clippings knowing that Grace has a broken toe, why even bother staying behind him?
Blauser lays off the slider, and the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh, almost hit it.
Well, now you got to figure after a little chin music, you're going to see that breaking ball away, and that's usually the pitch that Blauser takes to right field, as this one sails up and in. Jeff with some pretty good reflexes gets out of the way.
The 2-2. Fastball high and away. So now Grace will get a head start with 2 outs. The 3-2. Ball 4. 2 on, 2 outs for Caminori.
Well, I would be very surprised if Hernandez goes beyond this 5th inning. He's right now just over the 100 pitch mark. And you've got Alfonseca and Sanchez loosening up in the pen. Now, you know Jim Leyland wants to get Hernandez through this 5th, and after that I think he's pretty much got to go to the pen.
So here's Caminori. 2 on, 2 outs. A 9-5 game. Kevin doubled home a run back in the 3rd. Breaking ball of beauty.
Brian McRae just scored the winning run for the New York Mets as they defeat Philadelphia 1-0 in an extravaganza in New York.
14 innings and strike 2 to Ori. He's got to protect the plate now. Grace at second, Blauser at first. Here comes the 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is where a shortened swing that Jeff Pentland was talking with Kevin Ory about usually helps. You get 2 strikes, pitcher tries to stay away, and you take it to right center.
Slider he laid off, and now it's 2-2. Inside, 3-2. Nice at bat from the young man. Kevin Ory here was down 2 strikes. Now it's full, and both Grace and Blauser now will giddy up here. The stretch, the 3-2. Breaking ball swung on, hammered high and deep in the air, left center field. Kotze's got a play at the edge of the scoreboard, and that retires the side. Ory just missed it. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. We're halfway home in Florida. 9-5 Marlins. And grounds out to Jeff Blauser right through the wicket of Amari Telemaco as we open up the home half of the 5th inning. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Murray was able to knock it down. It goes 1-6-3, and Blauser alertly coming up the middle to get a less than fleet Charles Johnson. We'll see it again after it caroms off Telemaco. Good barehanded pickup, and he's got him by plenty at first.
And that defense up the middle ought to be very helpful as the season progresses. Craig Counsell bouncing ball. No defense will get that one. His second hit of the day. And the 9th for the Marlins. And they haven't been exactly choosy, have they? Both men swinging at the first pitch here in the bottom of the 5th.
Looks to me like this would be the last inning that Telemaco would pitch, so he would like to finish it up holding the Marlins right there. He's due up second in the 6th inning, and undoubtedly 4 runs down, he'll go to the bench.
Here's Booty. That skips away from service. The runner goes anyway, and Counsell stands at second. We'll see if they give Counsell a stolen base or a wild pitch.
This one bouncing out of the glove. It's probably going to go as a wild pitch.
It is a wild pitch. Another runner in scoring position for the Marlins. Booty fouls it away, and the count even 1-1.
Bullpen up and going for the Cubs, and indeed Telemaco will give way to Ben Van Ryn.
The 1-1 off the end of the bat and foul. It's 1-2. Levan Hernandez is in the on-deck circle for the Marlins.
And with nobody up in the bullpen, you'd have to figure he's going to run out there at least for the 6th inning at just about the 104, 105 pitch mark.
A ball, 2 strikes. Down and in. It's 2-2. Mets beat the Phillies in 14 today. 1-0. Turk Wendell, I believe, the losing pitcher.
The winning pitcher in that one.
Excuse me, winning pitcher, I beg your pardon. San Diego 10, Reds 2 a final. Milwaukee beat playing the Braves. 1-1 the score there. The Cardinals shutting out the Dodgers as Boody strikes out for the second out of the inning. And the second by Telemaco.
Now, Service wanted this fastball up and away. He got it down and out over the plate, and Boody just swung through it. So one more out, and Telemaco will have given the Cubs 2 very important innings right in the middle of this one.
Here's Hernandez, 0 for 2.
Got to play him fairly shallow and around toward right field. If he does get the bat on the ball, it's usually going to the right side.
He hits it towards short, but on the line to Blauser, and that retires the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. We are now through 5. It's a 9-5 Florida lead. Today's Discover Card Payback Playback takes us back to opening day 1996 when Scott Service's homer with 1 on and Mark Grace's 10th inning game-winning single got the Cubs in the win column to start the year, beating San Diego 5-4 in front of the friendly Confines faithful.
Holy cow! Mark Grace came through with a single to left.
Well, it'd be nice to have one of those in today's game from Florida. And speak of the devil, here's Scott Service leading things off against Livan Hernandez, who's got a 4-run cushion, but his pitch count is starting to mount. Cognizant of that, Jim Leland has his bullpen busy again. Good cut, and he fouled it back. Scott today 0 for 1 with a walk. The Cubs have been shut out in the 4th and the 5th.
Sanchez throwing in the bullpen.
0-1. Service, a little broken bat blooper into right, but it'll carry out to Sheffield. And the crowd of 41,126 applauds that play. And the Cubs leadoff man is retired here at Pro Players Stadium.
Number 24, Manny Alexander.
So Service flies to right, and Manny Alexander will come on to pinch hit for Amari Telemaco.
Well, a very nice job by the bullpen thus far. Terry Mulholland, 1 perfect inning, and Amari Telemaco 2 innings with no further damage.
And 2 balls, no strikes to Manny. Right through there, says Frank Pulley with that trademark overhand right. The 2-1. Off the end of his bat, out of play. It's 2-2.
Combination's going to hit a few of them out of the ballpark this year.
And they've already hit one today, and that Henry Rodriguez back in the 1st. The 2-2. Breaking ball ripped into right center field. Kotze will try to cut it off, and he will. So Manny with a 1-out single here. We'll see if he'll be off and running, or if the Cubs can create something here in the top half of the 6th.
Number 1.
You got to believe somewhere along the line that Hernandez is going to run out of gas, and maybe he has, as Jimmy Leland on his way to the mound.
Well, you've got both Johnson and Morandini left-handers, and I got to believe that it's going to be Sanchez, and that's going to be it for Hernandez, and that indeed is.
Well, he didn't pitch as well as he did in the LCS or the World Series, but he pitched effectively enough. He's given up 5 runs, 7 hits. The runner at first belongs to him, and Sanchez comes on to try to put out the fire here in the 6th at the tank.
A little touch of a heartfelt love song, make it in the key of a romance gone wrong. Mix it with a heart that has waited too long. Southwest is flying into Nashville. If it has a groove, we can 2-step, honey. We can rock and roll till it ain't even funny. If it's kind of blue, we can still save money. Southwest is flying into Nashville. Sing another train song, make another pain song. Everybody sing along. Fly Southwest to Nashville for a song.
Steve Stone Great offensive ball game if you like offense on opening day, but the wrong team's got the big numbers so far.
Well, there's a long way to go, and the one question mark for the Marlins, among many question marks, is that bullpen, and we'll see if Jesus Sanchez can hold down the Cubs.
Yeah, that was my question. Who is this guy? They've got a lot of those kind of players on their team.
Well, he's a young man who was used exclusively as a starter last year. Had 26 starts, 3 complete games. He's not a big left-hander, just 5'10", 153 pounds, out of the Dominican Republic at Binghamton last year with the Mets. Was 13-10 with a 4.30 ERA, and Al Leiter went to the Mets, and Sanchez, one of the guys to come over from the Mets.
So with Lance Johnson and Mickey Morandini facing him now, Sanchez goes to work with Alexander at first, and the first pitch served into center right at Kotsay. 2 down. So his first major league pitch gets him an out. Not too shabby.
It's hard to believe you've got 14 rookies in this Marlin roster opening day. 16 different faces than last year, and an exceptionally young team.
Now with 2 outs, Mickey Morandini the batter. And that pitch not made. Morandini today is 1 out of 3. He scored one of the 3 Cub runs in the first and has since flied to center twice. And that one sweeps away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, if Sanchez does not get Morandini, I doubt if he's going to be around to face Sosa, because a 3-run homer makes this one a very tight game, and you've got Alfonseca throwing in the bullpen, the big right-hander.
2 balls, no strikes. Boy, Alfonseca looks like he's put on a few pounds in the offseason.
Got that big World Series check.
The 2-0. Right through there, 2-1. 9-5 game. We're in the 6th. Right back where it came from. Counsell gobbles it up and wins the race to the bag. A bang-bang play at second, and Alexander retired, and so are the Cubs. Sanchez did his job. Good play by Counsell. Again, and Ben Van Ryn will try to keep goose eggs on the scoreboard here.
Well, Van Ryn really forced his way on this club. He had a great Cactus League. 10 appearances, a 1.80 ERA, and he beat out Alan Mahaffey, a Rule 5 draft. So he threw the ball well. He got the ball over the plate. And we'll look at the AAA numbers last year. Not near as impressive as he showed this spring, where he threw the ball very well.
Floyd greets him rudely, though. He has had a terrific game today. A single, a double, a run scored. And that was one of the question marks on this Marlin team. Could this guy bat in the leadoff spot? Didn't answer it in spring. Maybe answering it some today.
Well, after a terrible spring, Cliff Floyd, realizing the spring doesn't count at all, has come out roaring, and now it's a good hit-and-run situation. Floyd has excellent speed. Renteria usually grounds into a lot of double plays, so you wonder if they would send him. Now, he hasn't seen the Van Ryn move, so see if he shows it to him.
A strike on the outside corner. As Garth Brooks found out, I think the Van Ryn move is pretty good. Garth Brooks was a pinch runner for the Padres down in spring training. Nearly got picked off. A 1-strike offering. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Renteria today 1-for-2. Has scored a run and has doubled.
Van Ryn doesn't have anything overpowering, but you have to admire his persistence. He made the ball club as a non-roster invitee. And the Cubs' scarcity of left-hand pitchers certainly played to his favor. but make it he did, and here he is on opening day.
Runner goes, pitch, swing and a miss. The service throw is in time. Strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Well, there was the hit and run we talked about, and a fine throw by Scott Service turns into a double play. No contact from Renteria, who fanned 109 times last year, and the throw is right on the button. They cut him down at second base. The call by Ed Rapuano.
So quickly, 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th for Ryan Jackson. And he rips it into right. Good thing they did get the double play.
Well, you get out the right-hander, and the 2 left-handers get base hits, and now you have to face the man you don't want to face, Gary Sheffield.
This game is funny, isn't it? So Sheffield announced, and he'll dig in. He has homered. He's been hit by a pitch. He has walked.
And I think it's going to be to the bullpen and Mark Peixoto.
So he'll become the 5th Cub pitcher on the afternoon. We'll see if he can retire. Gary Sheffield and the Marlins right after this. A lot of standing around in the Cubs outfield today as the Marlins have put 9 on the scoreboard through 5 innings and 2/3. They have played a long ball, Steve, in very impressive fashion today.
Well, the first bomb came off the bat of Gary Sheffield, this in the 1st inning. And then it was Charles Johnson who came back in the 3rd inning with a towering home run. And the Cubs find themselves looking up at a 9-5 score with Mark Peixoto coming into the game, and those are pretty impressive numbers. He threw very well out of the bullpen last year. He inherits Jackson at first base, 2 outs. The very dangerous Gary Sheffield, who has a perfect day today. A 3-run bomb, hit by a pitch, drew a base on balls. And year after year, he has well over a 400 on base percentage, which for a slugger is quite an accomplishment.
So Peixoto against Sheffield here. 2 outs, 1 on. Marlins by 4. And that missed low. 1 ball, no strikes. Downstairs, 2-0.
Here's where you have to be careful. It's very tough to get inside on Sheffield, so when you go in, you want to go in off the plate, but you're already down 2-0. And that means you just as soon stay away and try to have him pull the ground ball to the left side. They're playing him as a dead pull hitter with Blauser well over in the hole.
Slider and a good one. 2-1.
It was a good spot for a 2-0 pitch. It forced him to try to pull it, and Sheffield, well ahead of Peixoto, realized that that was a pitcher's pitch, not his pitch, and he's looking for something better.
Off his fists and into the big crowd. And the count now moves to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Again for Jim Riggleman. Tomorrow it's Mark Clark tomorrow evening against Felix Heredia. And what a pickup Mark Clark was for the Cubs. And Heredia, the former relief pitcher, now pressed into starting duty for Jimmy Leland.
56 appearances last year, all out of the bullpen for Heredia. It'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to the starting rotation.
The 2-2 now to Sheffield. High chop off the plate, just fouled past first.
Well, the Cubs get a break because that would have scored a run. And bear in mind, it's not where it hits once it crosses the bag, it's where it crosses the bag. And with Charlie Williams on the line, he had the best look at it, and he called it just foul. The Cubs get a break here, no chance for Grace. Charlie Williams says it crossed the bag foul, and that would have definitely scored a run.
Again, the 2-2 now to the Marlins slugger, Gary Sheffield. High and tight. It's full now, 3-2.
The reason you didn't want to go there with 2 outs is that Jackson gets a running start. He doesn't have great speed, but with a running start, he can score on any 2-base hit.
Here comes the 3-2 runner goes. Breaking ball almost hit him, and Sheffield, as Yogi would say, it's deja vu all over again.
On base 4 times today, nothing new for Gary Sheffield. Now you have to deal with the youngster who swings from the left side, Mark Kotsay.
And who's had a good day today. 2 for 3, a couple of runs scored, but did strike out his last time up. By the way, Tampa Bay welcomes a major league team to the American League this year, and Detroit is rudely welcoming them. It's 11-0 Tigers over at Tropicana Field in St. Pete. And Machado overthrew that pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Later tonight, Colorado battles the Diamondbacks down in Phoenix. Sheffield at first, Ryan Jackson at second. Now the 1-0. Breaking ball missed away.
The Marlins have done a good job with their #1 draft choices. Kotsay is a #1 draft choice. In 1996, Charles Johnson also a #1 draft choice, both in the major leagues. And Jim Leland in his 13th year of managing.
Blauser dancing behind the runner at second. Shota steps off. Yeah, it's funny. In so many quarters, Steve, you hear fans and owners and managers complain about the salaries of major league players. First, the 2-0 popped up. But so few teams, it seems, put a lot of money into their farm systems. As Grace leans in, did he come up with the ball?
Yes, he did.
He did. Great play by Mark Grace to retire the side, and certainly the Marlins have one of the best farm systems in the major leagues. Florida goes scoreless in their half of the 6th. Great play by Mark Grace to retire him. A 9-5 performance today for Scott Service. He's put in a lot of extra duty behind the plate. A lot of pitches have been tossed his way this afternoon as the Cubs trail the Marlins 9-5 as we move now to the 7th inning. Innings are getting scarce now. 7th, 8th, and 9th, and the Cubs' heart of the order is due up here with the young, untested left-hander Sanchez on the mound for the Marlins.
And the bullpen up and going for Jim Leland's Marlins. So apparently they're not quite sure that Sanchez is going to be able to get through the heart of the order.
But he has some great minor league numbers, does he not? This kid on the mound for the Fish.
Well, more strikeouts than innings pitched. And that shows pretty good stuff. The question is, can he get the ball over the plate? And that's the question for a lot of young, hard throwers.
2 balls, no strikes to Sammy. Oh, what a cut. And he missed it. 2-1. Hey, that's very nice. Thanks, Rod. Don't want to quibble, but it's AY, guys. Nothing personal, but we appreciate the thought. The 2-1. Fouled up Charles Johnson. And again, thank you so much to all the great fans for all their wonderful thoughts and prayers and warm wishes, not only to me, but our entire family. We can't thank you enough for that. As we're in the 7th inning here. The 2-2. Strike 3 call. Sammy totally fooled on that pitch.
I think Sanchez is pretty deceptive, Chip, because he's a short arm left-hander, and I don't think you see the ball very well. He does throw hard, and this one completely fools Sammy. It's a pretty good pitch. He just took it.
So 1 out, bases empty. And Mr. Sanchez very impressive so far in his inning and a third of work. Lefty-lefty battle now as Mark stands in, and he takes inside. 1-0.
Gracie does a nice job against the left-handers because he keeps that front shoulder in. He normally goes either back up the middle or to left center against them. Let's see how he fares against Sanchez.
Right through there. 1-1.
It's Manny Alexander who came through with a pinch single today.
Grace pulled it foul. It's 1-2. Well, friends, if you're planning a group outing during 1998, and if you have a group of 20 or more, Wrigley Field provides the perfect setting for corporate, family, or social outings. Plenty of seats are available, so make your plans now. And be sure to ask about special discounts given to groups of 50 or more. And Mark Grace has an infield hit.
Well, we talked about Mark going the opposite way against the left-handers. He probably wasn't thinking about an infield hit, but Renteria made a great play just to keep the ball in the infield, and there's nothing he can do with it. Even though Gracie has the bad foot, he beat out a double play ground ball earlier, and now he has an infield hit. He's not going to have many of those this year.
Man, he'll take it. He'll take it for sure. But isn't it funny about this game? It seems now the shortstop position is becoming the next great crop of young players. The Alex Rodriguez's, the Renterias, the Jeters, and on you can go. Terrific young players at that position around the major leagues.
Well, it used to be primarily a defensive position. They used to tell you, a la Mark Belanger, doesn't matter what you hit, just catch it. Ozzie Smith came up, he could catch everything, couldn't hit. Now the shortstops are getting bigger and stronger, and they're becoming offensive players.
Henry takes low. 2 balls, no strikes, and I guess you can thank Cal Ripken for that, a man who may have revolutionized the position offensively, at least in the modern era.
Well, everybody said he was ticketed for third. Earl Weaver said, I think you can play short, and the rest is history.
And he was right.
He was right for many games.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And now they talk about eventually shifting Cal over to first base, because they've got a young third baseman who's supposed to be just outstanding, and when he comes of age, they anticipate Ripken making the move.
2 balls and a strike to Henry. That's high. 3-1.
Well, here's where the lefty-lefty advantage evens out for the hitter, because you pretty much know you're going to get a fastball. And if you get it middle in, Henry can hit it as far as anybody.
The pitch. Ball 4, 2 on, 1 man out, and Jeff Blauser, the hitter. As he strides to the plate, we remind you our senior producer director of Cubs baseball is Mr. Arnie Harris. Today's game was produced by Pete Toma, our associate producer Bart Fox, and the coordinating producer of Cubs baseball is Kim Fields. Delighted to have all you guys with us. We're looking forward to a fun season of Cubs baseball in 1998. So Sanchez walks Rodriguez. 2 men on, 1 man out. Well, Steve, last year this guy Antonio Alfonseca was just a big right-hander. He has graduated to Portland for 1998.
Well, they've got him at 235 pounds. I think he flew by that a long time ago.
I wish I had their scale.
He's a very big man at 6'5", and an unusual man because he has 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand and each foot. And there's a look at the numbers. He is a hard-throwing right-hander. 17 appearances last year. Did his best work at Charlotte, and he inherits base runners at first and second. Only 1 out, and Cub fans abounding here in South Florida.
And they'd love to see Jeff Blauser come through again here in the 7th. And Alfonseca fires a fastball high. One thing about this big right-hander, you know he'll give you 120%.
6 fingers, you can understand that.
1 ball, no strikes, the runners lead. The pitch to Jeff. Swing and a miss. He swung late.
Last year, remember I told your grandfather he had 6 fingers, and Harry wouldn't believe it until Arnie had a close-up from about 4 different angles of all 6 of his fingers.
Blauser, high chop up the middle. Renteria steps on the bag. 1 on the first 2. And the double play retires the side. Alfonseca gets 2 outs with 3 pitches, and the Cubs out of luck in the top of the 7th. On we go to the bottom half. Charles Johnson, whose 3-run homer back in the 3rd, really broke our backs. The Cubs had battled back to make it a 1-run game, and then with 1 swing of the bat, he built the lead back to 9-5. And he rips that one foul past third.
It was as if everybody got tired. They came out, a lot of energy. All the runs scored in the first 3 innings, and since then, both offenses have been silenced by the bullpens.
Which is a bit of a surprise. We weren't sure if both bullpens would be up to snuff, but they've done a good job today. 1-2 now to CJ. Before he takes another hack, let's once again pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN, Chicago.
Chip Caray, Steve Stone from South Florida. A 1-2 to Charles Johnson. Nice slider. Have a seat, CJ. One down. That was a nasty pitch.
Pashota came in, did a nice job of getting out of that 6th inning, and he starts his 7th with a good slider, perfect spot, and Johnson takes a seat.
So a good start here in the 7th. And the number 7 man in the order, Craig Counsell, the batter.
You're going to like this young man because he never overswings. He takes exactly what the pitcher gives him, and he's a very solid second baseman.
A fastball strike. And they didn't exactly hand the second base job to him this year. He really had to work for it.
A lot of people felt that he might have been lost over the wintertime because I'm sure there's many teams looking for middle infielders. There was a scarcity of middle infielders this year.
How would this guy have looked in a Boston Red Sox uniform after the injury they suffered? They, of course, signed former Brave Mark Lemke the other day. High chop toward second. Morandini can't get it. It's into center, and Counsell has a 3-hit opening day.
That's the second time that Counsell went back up the middle, this time by a diving Morandini. A triple, a couple of singles, and a run batted in, and you have to believe that Dave Dombrowski, the brand new daddy, is very happy about his very young, essentially brand new Marlin team. Coming off a world championship, but a lot of different faces around this year.
Booty had a big cut. It's 0-1.
Well, Booty's not going to be able to catch up to the high fastball. His swing is just too long right now, and that's something that hitting instructor Milt May has tried to work with him to shorten up that swing. If he doesn't, he will fall victim to many inside fastballs this year.
Little chop, foul down the third base line, and it's 0-2. You remember your first opening day?
I do. As a player or a broadcaster?
Well, as a player.
As a player, very much. I remember the first game I pitched. Dave Campbell, you know him, singled to center, and a guy named Dave Stahl hit a 2-run homer. So after 2 hitters, I had an infinite ERA. Wound up with a no decision that day against San Diego.
It didn't take you long to whittle that down, though. Snap throw to first. And Counsell just does get back.
Well, I wound up with 3 no decisions, and it took me till my 4th game where I shut out Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh when they had Clemente and Stargell and the rest of
the thrill that had to be.
Those Bombers in 1971. And I had my family there to watch it, so that definitely was a thrill.
Nothing like opening day, and Craig Counsell has 3 hits on his. The 1-2 pitch now to Booty. Foul back to the backstop. Nine runs, 12 hits, 1 error for the Marlins. 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for the Cubs. Neither team has scored since the 3rd inning. Booty had an RBI ground out back in the 1st, but is 0 for 3 today. And he strikes out. Another good breaking ball from Mark Pashota.
Booty knows that he's only going to be here until Bobby Bonilla comes back, and it could be about a week, as much as 10 days, and then he will go down and get much needed AAA at bats. This is really a hanging slider that he swings through, and Booty can do it defensively, having a little problem offensively at this point. And Al Fonseca will wrap his 12 fingers around the bat.
Is it 12 fingers or 10 and 2 thumbs? I'm not sure about it.
You got me on a technicality.
Yeah, I got your point, though. And he does not look like he's very comfortable in the box. 1 ball, 1 strike. I wonder who gives him batting gloves, though.
You think they're specially made?
I wonder if he's got them on, but why? Downstairs, 2-1.
No, it's a regular 4-fingered, 1-thumb batting glove.
Thank you for being specific. 2 balls and a strike. Ooh. 2-2. And even he's, well, kind of half smiling at that effort.
I got to figure with that stroke, this is going to be a fairly short at bat.
Strike 3 call. Peixoto strikes out the side in the 7th. We move to the 8th. Let's get some runs. It's 9-5 Marlins. Cangelosi, one of the fine veteran bench players for Jim Leyland's ball club. We head to the 8th inning. It's 9-5. And now here's Steve with today's Ameritech play that makes a difference.
In the 1st inning, Henry Rodriguez steps up against last year's all-everything, Livan Hernandez, and greets him rather rudely with a 3-run bomb. At the time, put the Cubs up 3-0, and that's the Ameritech playbook.
But Gary Sheffield in the bottom half hit a 3-run homer himself, and the Marlins have not looked back since. 7, 8, 9 for the Cubs here in the 8th inning. Ori, service, and a pinch hitter. It's 9-5. The Fish have the lead. Chopper towards second. Counsell charges. 1 out. Now, we showed you that shot of John Cangelosi we mentioned earlier in the day. The Marlins were still trying to trade either him or Jim Eisenreich or both of those players. In fact, the Marlins bench very, very thin today. Jimmy Eisenreich not with the team. He's attending to a family funeral up in Minnesota. So Cangelosi, the lone veteran, on the Florida bench, available for pinch hitting or pinch running or pinch outfielding duties this afternoon.
And speaking of pinch hitting, Tyler Houston in the on-deck circle. He'll come on to pinch hit for Mark Peixoto, and the bullpen was brilliant today. Well, Holland, Telemaco, Van Ryn, and Peixoto slammed the door on the suddenly resurgent Marlins.
Service pops it up and out of play.
And I say resurgent because they were 11-17 in spring training, which doesn't mean much. But a lot of their bombers are gone. A completely different team. And a very, very tough outing for Kevin Tapani, who was charged with all 9 of the runs in 2+ innings.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss from Service. And there's out number 2. Well, if you look at the numbers for Kevin Tapani, April and May have always been April has always been his toughest month. He's 8-10 lifetime in the month of April, and then after that his ERA has never been higher than 4.4. So he's given up the worst pitching outing of his career today. It can only get better. At least you hope.
Well, now Sandy Martinez is going to pinch hit with nothing doing. You're going to keep Tyler Houston in case you do have something up in the 9th, and Sandy Martinez getting a look at Al Fonseca.
And he takes a stride. I guess the book on him is great arm, pretty good catcher, but as you see, the bat needs some work. Rips it right to first. Ryan Jackson to an E, makes the play, and the Cubs out of luck in the 8th. We go to the bottom half. Marlins still have a 4-run lead. In the Cubs dugout, has to be pretty happy with his team's bats, at least in the first 3 innings. And hopefully the pen can continue its good work with the crafty veteran Bob Patterson on the mound.
Well, the record is deceiving. Patterson had a fine year last year in 76 appearances, a 3.34 ERA. He's had 2 very good years for the Cubs, and he is the premier left-hander in the bullpen, and he is also the 6th Cub pitcher today, and the bullpen has been flawless. Mulholland, Telemaco, Van Ryn, Peixoto, and now Patterson have followed Tapani.
And they've given up only 5 hits, no runs, and have struck out 6 Marlins. So Patterson will try to keep up that good work as he takes on Cliff Floyd here, who's had a very productive day in the leadoff spot for the Marlins. 2 balls, no strikes. Same 2 teams tomorrow. It's a night game. Mark Clark against Felix Heredia. And then the finale of the series will pit Jeremy Gonzalez against Rafael Medina. There's Terry Adams getting ready should Patterson have some trouble.
And here's an oddity. Cliff Floyd is leading off an inning for the 5th time.
Right through there.
So playing the leadoff hitter to perfection, as the pitchers have ended 4 different innings for the Marlins.
Strike 2. Full count now, 3 balls, 2 strikes. And that just missed outside. A leadoff walk here in the 8th inning. As Floyd strides to first, let's check out who's cleaning up in baseball. Brought to you by Hoover, who leads the major leagues in doubles in the 90s. Mark Grace over a guy I think might be the best right-hand hitter in the American League, Edgar Martinez. That guy is a doubles machine for the Seattle Mariners. And Rafael Palmeiro, Tony Gwynn, Paul Molitor. Here's Renteria. He takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Marlins scored 6 in the first, and that's all they've needed today. The runner goes. Blauser saves an error.
Well, actually, that wasn't that bad a throw, but nobody was at second base. Nobody believed that Floyd was going to run. And so when Service came up throwing, there was a lack of communication as to who was going to take the throw. And as you can see, Blauser late arriving, not a bad throw at all. And as he goes head over heels, Cliff Floyd winds up with a stolen base. So they're going to have to get that together, and it's early yet.
How many to go after today?
Only 161. As Jim Riggleman talking with Dan Radisson about who is supposed to cover on that play. They'll have to work that out. Bear in mind, these 2 guys are new to one another, and they've got to figure out just exactly what they want to do in a steal situation.
One ball, 1 strike. Ripped into right field. That's going to drop for a hit. Sammy charges. And Floyd gets the big stop sign. First and third, nobody out. And Mr. Patterson being greeted very rudely here in his 98 debut.
The first baseman.
Renteria doing what he should do, trying to go to right field with a man at second base and nobody out. And he dumps it right at Sammy Sosa. And there's no way that Rich Donnelly is going to gamble with nobody out. So runners at the corners. And Ryan Jackson with an opportunity. And the youngsters have come through pretty well today for the Marlins.
Jackson 2 for 4. Kotze 2 for 4. Craig Counsell 3 for 4 today. And Jackson hits a high pop foul down the left field line that will bounce into the Cubs bullpen and out of play. You don't take liberties with Mr. Sosa in right.
You can see last year in right field, the 2 men in the ball game today, Sosa and Sheffield, led the way.
Service with a long look into the Cubs dugout. As Jackson digs in, Floyd at third, Renteria at first. A 9-5 Marlin game. They're threatening to put it away here in the bottom of the 8th. Right through there. No balls, 2 strikes. That ball served down the left field line and foul.
Well, now we'll see if Jim Riggleman wants to give Terry Adams a little work in getting used to coming in tough situations, because if he does, then he's going to bring him in to face Sheffield regardless of what Jackson does. Granted, it would be another pitcher, and with the infield in here trying to cut off that all-important 10th run, you wonder if he's going to bring Adams in.
Little pop again out of play. There's Mr. Adams. There's Mr. Jackson. And there's Mr. Floyd. And there's Mr. Renteria. And there's a ground ball to second. Morandini's coming home. Save! What a slide from Floyd.
Floyd has tremendous speed, and he employed all of that speed and tacked on a good slide around service to go with it. Morandini had to take a step to his right. Even with the infield in, the great speed of Cliff Floyd allowed him to sneak in, and he just slides right around service. A very good call by Frank Pulley, and the 10th run does indeed score, and the 7th pitcher will indeed come into this game. And watch it again, a great slide by Floyd, and it's a 10-5 game.
So Jim Riggleman hands the ball to Terry Adams. 10-5 the score. We shall see how Mr. Adams fares right after this. Pretty good last year. They didn't win their division, but they went from the wild card to the World's Championship. And if they can win the World Series with this cast of characters, they deserve all the credit in the world.
Well, today they look like a World Series contender as Terry Adams, the 7th Cub pitcher, comes in. He had a very good beginning last year, a tough ending, a .462 ERA overall, and he inherits runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the 8th inning, and the Marlins pulling away.
So here's Gary Sheffield, and a breaking ball is high. 1 ball, no strikes. Gary with a monstrous home run into the upper deck in his first at bat. A breaking ball of beauty. It's 1-1. Adams, the closer of the future for this ball club. Does he have the stuff? I mean, he performed very well in that role last year.
Well, they've talked about it at times, and then Phil Regan wanted him to add 1 more pitch to his repertoire. And in situations like this is what he's going to have to face, not necessarily with a 5-run deficit, but the best hitter.
Base hit into left center field. Late break by Renteria, and they put up the red light. And Sheffield single loads the bases here in the 8th.
Well, he had to hold up because he didn't know if Blauser was going to be able to get to that one, and you don't want to get doubled off, taken out of a big inning. So it's pretty good heads-up base running play by Edgar Renteria, and it loads the bases with nobody out.
Well, here's one of those aforementioned young players for the Marlins. It has been a day served by youth. Kotze with a couple of hits, a couple of runs.
Infield in at all 4 positions, and they will come home with it.
The Marlins with 14 hits, 10 runs, bidding for more with nobody out, and a quick strike from Adams. 0-1. Slider down and in. A ball and a strike. Kotze, the Golden Spikes Award winner, Cal State Fullerton. As a youngster, the pitch, swing and a foul back. It's 1-2. Or I guess I should say as a younger youngster. Edgar Renteria at third. Ryan Jackson at second. Gary Sheffield, your runner, at first. And Mark Kotsay in the box against Terry Adams with the bases loaded in the bottom half of the eighth. There's a fly into left. Henry Rodriguez. The catch, the tag at third. And a run will score to make it 11-5 Marlins. A sacrifice fly from Kotsay.
Well, the Marlins talk about Mark Kotsay understanding how to play the game, and he was looking for something up in the strike zone, knowing that if he hit it to left or center, it would be very difficult with the arms of Rodriguez and Johnson to throw anybody out, and drove home the 11th run and the first of the day driven in by Kotsay.
Well, Charles Johnson's driven in more than one. He drove in 3 with the big hit of the day back in the third inning. A 3-run home run. And he takes high, I suppose. 1 ball, no strikes. The Cubs had pulled to within 6-5, and then Johnson uncorked a blast on a 1-1 pitch from Kevin Tapani. That made it a 9-5 game. The 1-0. Breaking ball is high. 2-0. Only 1 man out in the 8th inning. The 2-0. Breaking ball crushed, but he's out in front. Oh, man. That ball really hammered.
Fortunately, out a little too quickly. And that one crushed foul. Watch it again from our left field camera coming off the bat, and no doubt about the distance. Would it stay fair long enough? And the answer is no.
The 2-1. Fooled him badly. Nice comeback pitch there from Adams. 2-2.
Well, if he keeps the slider away from Johnson, he's going to strike him out. The question is, can you get it in the same spot again?
Two balls, 2 strikes. Got him. Good fastball. That thing had some giddy up on it. And there's out number 2.
Kept this one away from Johnson, just threw it right by him. Hit the spot perfectly, and Johnson goes down for the 2nd time on strikes. And here's been a thorn in the side of the Cubs today, Greg Counsell.
3 for 4 today. And a breaking ball of beauty. Counsell lives in Chicago in the offseason. Notre Dame alumnus, born in South Bend. They got him from the Rockies for Mark Hutton last July 27. Ripped hard, but out of play. Look out, folks. And Counsell will pick out a new piece of lumber. So Adams quickly out in front. No balls, 2 strikes. And there is the closer to be for the Marlins. If Jay Powell comes on, it would not, of course, be a save situation, for the lead is too great. But you might as well consider it. Get him used to pitching the 9th.
I don't think you want to allow your closer too many days. So you let him pitch an inning, and hopefully he can wrap it up without too much drama if you're Jim Leyland.
Again, the 0-2. Missed outside. 1-2. And I would have to say, Stoney, from Leland's perspective, this day went perfectly for him. He hasn't had to use his bullpen with 2 very inexperienced pitchers going the next 2 days.
And he got just enough out of his starter and World Series MVP, Livan Hernandez. And once again, his team scored Hernandez a barrel full of runs.
That just missed. Adams thought he had him punched out. Count 2-2.
A lot of excitement later on in the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix as the Diamondbacks will entertain the Rockies in the first official game at Bob, the Bank One ballpark.
The 2-2. A little tapper foul. When I was out in Arizona briefly, I thought, did America West move the airport? Thing looks like an airplane hangar in downtown Phoenix.
It's going to be a beautiful ballpark, and they're hoping to have a little better outcome than those Tampa Bay Devil Rays, who came up on the short end of 11-0 score.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome to expansion baseball.
That's exactly right. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball high. I'll tell you what, that Tiger team is going to be a fun team to watch. Buddy Bell and Randy Smith and company have done a terrific job building a young core of talent there.
Well, they also moved to the Central, which is a little softer than the AL East.
That's going to be a fun team to watch. Now a 3-2 pitch to Counsell. Runners go. Swing and a miss. Service applies the tag, and the side is retired. But the Marlins pick up 2 more on 3 hits. We go to the 9th. The Cubs need 6 to tie here. 11-5 as we go to the 9th inning. Marlins go to the pen again. They bring on their closer to be Jay Powell. He's got the big shoes of Rob Nen to fill down here in South Florida, and Powell lifetime has just 4 saves.
He had a good year last year in 74 appearances, a 7-2 record, a 3.28 ERA, but just 2 saves last year as he was the setup man for Rob Nen. This year, that auspicious job falls to him.
Yeah, Nen had 108 saves as a Marlin. Powell 104 fewer. And Johnson takes a strike. Lance today is 0 for 3 with a walk. He's popped out and flied out twice. That's a rocket into right field. It'll drop in front of Sheffield and scoot to the wall. Johnson's got 2 for sure. He'll make 3rd without a play. So we need the rally caps tonight, and Johnson a spark here in the 9th with a leadoff triple.
Lance Johnson is one of the great triples hitters in the major leagues, and this is a very good triples park. Gets one out over the plate, gets it by Gary Sheffield, and then Lance is off to the races. So a good start to the 9th inning as the Cubs need 6 to tie.
So Mickey Morandini will stand in, and he takes high. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, the old triple. Boy, you talk about a stat happening in a game that you almost never see with any great frequency anymore. Cookie cutter ballparks, perhaps, smaller ballparks. This is the kind of place that, as you said, with the odd angles, the wacky wall angles here, balls will carry them all over the place and gives the runner a chance to go for 3.
Well, you've got some heavy grass in the outfield also, and if it does get by, it doesn't ricochet off that wall all that quickly. It's a good spot for that.
Hot shot to short. Renteria knocks it down, holds the runner at 3rd. Infield hit. They're at the corners with nobody out.
Well, a lot of hustle by Mickey Morandini, not taking anything for granted. Renteria should have never even looked at 3rd. You're 6 runs up. You have to just get that ball and throw it to first base. Give him an error on that one and watch it again. He knocks it down and kind of takes a little look at 3rd base before getting it across, and Morandini, hustling all the way, beats the play.
And they charge that an infield hit. That's the 9th of the day for the Cubs. Here's Sosa. He takes outside. Well, now they change it. They put his 2 in the error column, so it's the 2nd Marlins error on the day. Weekly hit to short. Renteria will go to 2nd, 1. Sosa reaches safely. Johnson scores from 3rd. The run costs the Cubs an out and gives Sosa the RBI.
Now batting, the first baseman, number 17, Mark Grace.
So Sammy's at first, 1 in, 1 out. And Mark Grace, your batter. Mark singled his last time up in the 7th. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. Popped to 3rd in the 3rd. Walked and scored back in the 1st. And a breaking ball stood him up. (11-6). That's inside. Well, an 11-run game here, an 11-0 game in Tampa, a 9-2 game down in Texas. San Diego scored 10 at Cincinnati.
And then you look to Philadelphia, where they went 14 to scratch out 1 run. And Turk Wendell, beneficiary of that run in the 14th. Ryan McRae scores it, and the Mets beat the Phillies 1-0.
The 2-1. Breaking ball. He was out in front. And the count evens to Mark Grace. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, you got to tip your cap to this guy, playing with a broken toe on his right foot. He was 50-50 yesterday as to whether he would even play today. Leg down to fielder's choice back in the 5th. It kept the Cubs out of a double play. And has a hit as well on the afternoon. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Powell. The last thing he wants to do is walk anybody. Well, he strikes out Grace, who almost sat down and swung so hard.
Well, very rarely will you see Mark Grace strike out against right-handers. But strikeout he does, and he's a most unhappy man as the Cubs down to their last out as that ball sinks away from Grace. And you got to believe there's a little pressure on that foot of Mark Grace as the heat starts to rise up around his neck and head.
So the final opportunity, perhaps, as Henry Rodriguez digs in. Well, he started the ball game off with a bang, didn't he? With 2 outs. In the first, he crushed a long home run to right to put the Cubs up by 3. He checked his swing that time, and it's 2-0. He had an outstanding spring. 7 home runs. It carried over into opening day. Strike on the outside corner. It's 2-1. Hit hard, but foul past first. And now we're down to our final strike.
All the fans on their feet as they stand and applaud this very young Marlin team.
Almost hit him. It's 3-2. Again, ball 4. He walks him with 2 outs. So Powell has struggled a bit here in the top of the 9th. A triple, a single, and now a walk.
And the bullpen up and going. And it's a couple more youngsters. Enriquez, the right-hander, and the left-hander is take your pick.
I think it's Vic Derensburg. That's my guess. Here's Blauser.
I'll buy that.
Jeff 1 for 3 in his Cubs debut. Cubs have him first and second in an 11-6 game. Strike. On 1. Bouncing ball up the middle. Renteria gobbles it up. He'll flip to Counsell, and the Marlins win the opener. 11-6 the final. The season starts with a bang as the fireworks go off. A lot of offense, Stoney, here today in South Florida. There's your final. 11-6. The Marlins beat the Cubs. Totals and highlights right after this.